Hi, I'm Edgar from the support team, and I'm here with John to cover some of the frequently asked questions and common workflow disruptors. This panel is focused on getting you to your destination faster. The world of social media moves fast, and media professionals need streamlined workflows. Over the next few minutes, we will go over some of the most common workflow disruptors, frequently asked questions, and walk through how to solve them. John is going to start us off with some common login issues.
Hey everyone, I'm John from the support team, and like Edgar said, I'm going to talk about a few common issues you might face. First one is really simple. If you're having trouble logging into your account, password resets are done via code that would be texted to your mobile number on file. If you're not receiving the code or your mobile number changed, you can just email the support team and we'll trigger a password reset email to help you log in. If you reset your password and it's still not working, it's probably that your account has become inactive. As a security protocol, there's a nightly script that marks accounts inactive if they haven't been logged into in 90 days. So if you haven't logged in a while and your password's not working, it's probably that your account has become inactive. If a user has been marked inactive, an admin user on the account will need to reactivate the account from the users and permissions page. The admin would need to go to the settings page, click on admin. This will land them on the users and permissions tab. Then they find the inactive account, click edit, check the active box, and click save at the bottom of the page. Once this is done, the user's account is active and they can log in using their existing password, or they can click forgot your password on the login page if they need to reset their password. There's one catch to this. Once the account's been marked active, the user needs to log in by the end of the day, otherwise they'll be marked inactive again by the nightly script. The last common login issue is that a user's two-factor authentication codes aren't working, or they've lost access to their 2FA codes, which could happen if they change phones or change phone numbers. If this happens, it's always good to have your backup codes. If you don't have the 2FA backup codes, you can generate them from the settings page. If you have access to your 2FA codes, but they just aren't working, one issue could be that the times on your devices aren't synced. Two-factor authentication uses an epoch timestamp to verify the code. So if the times are off even by a second, the code won't work. If the times are synced and the code still isn't working, you can just email support and we can temporarily disable your 2FA. And the same goes if you've lost access to your 2FA codes, you can email support and we'll temporarily disable your 2FA. But for security purposes, to do this, we would need written permission from an admin. Another issue you might face is that you don't have the necessary permissions to do what you need to do. For example, if you need to post to a social account, but you don't have access to that account, or you need to invite a new user, but you can't invite a new user, you would need your permissions updated. So this is something that support can help with, but again, we would need the go-ahead from an admin. So it's best that when you email us, you CC the admin or you just reach out to the admin directly. You may notice that the prevalent theme here is security. I think by now we've all seen the power of a tweet or a Facebook post. So when it comes to everything we just discussed, reactivating your account, disabling your 2FA, updating your permissions, support can help, but we'll always need permission from an admin to help with these situations. And one final note on security, SocialFlow doesn't charge per user, so there's no reason that two users should ever be sharing the same account. It's a security vulnerability, so if you're sharing an account with another user, reach out to support or reach out to your admin and we'll get you set up with your own account. And now Edgar is going to talk about a few more workflow disruptors and how to solve them.
Thanks, John. As a third-party publisher, SocialFlow publishes using access tokens. The auth flow lets page admin provide SocialFlow with an access token that gives them permission to their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages, or any other social media platform. Most publishing and analytics disruptors could be resolved by maintaining an up-to-date access token. A quick word on access tokens. Access tokens are granted so that third-party publishers can impersonate an account via a public API network. Without the access token, we are not able to pull data from your accounts or publish to your accounts. Access tokens are granted and maintained by the publishing platform. As a security protocol, publishing platforms expire access tokens for varying reasons. We're not made aware of the full scope of those reasons, but there are a couple known actions we have seen in the past. Password updates. If the admin that authorized the page updates their password on the social platform, then it will expire any tokens that have previously been granted. After updating the password, the admin would need to complete a reauth on SocialFlow in order to update the access token. Timed expiration. Publishing platforms will periodically expire tokens as a security measure. The period it takes for an access token to expire varies from platform to platform and is not made publicly available. Periodically refreshing the access token from SocialFlow could help avoid the account being deauthorized due to a timed expiration. Admin change. Access tokens are tied to the user that authorized the page. If the admin of the page changes any access tokens that have been granted, will expire. The new admin will need to reauthorize the page from SocialFlow in order to update the access token. In order to maintain an up-to-date access token, an admin from SocialFlow will need to complete an auth flow for that social platform. So here's some of the common mistakes that happen when you're completing an auth flow. Each platform has a similar auth flow, but there are a few nuances that sometimes create blockers, and we are going to explore some of those nuances. First is LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a pretty straightforward auth flow. The user that is authorizing the LinkedIn page will need admin permissions on LinkedIn and SocialFlow. The one caveat is that LinkedIn's auth flow can be a bit stubborn and require multiple attempts before granting the token. Facebook's auth flow will apply to both Facebook and Instagram pages. Over the last few months, Facebook has made several different updates to their auth flow. Let's take a quick overview of the requirements most users miss when they attempt to auth in a Facebook account. The user completing the auth flow must have admin permissions to the account they are authorizing. When completing the auth flow, the user will need to use the Edit Settings button to select the pages they want to authorize and add the necessary permissions. The admin completing the reauth must be sharing their location with Facebook in order for the auth to work. If you're not sharing your location with Facebook, Facebook will not successfully grant the access token. Lastly, if the page has two-factor authorization enabled, the user authorizing the page must also have two-factor enabled on their personal page. Without two-factor enabled on your personal page, we will not be able to receive a successful auth token. RSS feeds. When operating as expected, RSS feeds can automate your publishing needs or fill your queue with messages that can be curated from your publishing queue. When they have a hiccup, it can cause a major disruption to your workflow. Let's discuss some of the most common disruptors and how you can move quickly to resolve them before they disrupt your workflow. First is validating RSS feeds. Our feed fetcher uses RSS Feed 2.0, which means they have specific rule sets. You can learn more about the parameters from RSS Feed by visiting this website, mnot.net/RSS/tutorial. This site will provide the in-depth review of all the components needed for a successful RSS Feed 2.0. If you notice that messages are not being ingested from your feed, your first step is to validate the feed using an online validator tool. First, copy the feed link, then open a feed validator tool. I use W3C's validator, which can be found at w3.org/feed/check. The online validator will check the feed and then return a success message if the feed checks out. A successfully validated feed will display a congratulations message at the top. Below it, you'll see some recommendations for optimizing your feed, but those are not necessary for the feed to be valid and ingested through SocialFlow. If your feed is invalid, the validator will return your results and share details on how to resolve the issues on the feed. If the feed is valid, but we are still not ingesting new content, then it's possible our fetcher is picking up those entries as duplicates. Our fetcher is marking entries as dupes for 3 different reasons: title, link, or GUID of the entry. If the title and link or GUID are the same as a message that was previously ingested, the entry will not be ingested because it is labeled as a dupe. You can find a more in-depth review of our RSS feeds in our help guide. Our help guide can be accessed by going to support.socialflow.com. To access our support pages, you will be required to sign in. If you are unable to get an answer from our support pages, you can also open a support ticket by clicking Submit a Request or emailing support@socialflow.com. You can also reach our 24-hour support line at 651-229-3044. Thank you for joining us in this session of Frequently Asked Questions. We hope these tips will help you maintain your workflow and continue to power the conversations that matter.